The vibes are high under a blue sky here in Clemson, South Carolina on an action-packed day of sports here on campus. We've got the Louisville Cardinals, comeback winners in 4 straight, looking to move to 3-1 in the ACC, as do the Clemson Tigers, both trying to work their way into the top 25 on the first official full weekend of ACC softball. We're glad you're with us. He's the Hall of Famer, Scott Whitlock. I'm Daniel Gilman. In the first of 3 between these teams, familiar foes so far, but the first time they've met since 2024.
Yeah, but they are so similar. They both have very similar records. They both have very similar situations they're trying to navigate. And this ought to be a great way to kick off what's going to be a busy weekend of athletics here on this campus.
Clemson took 2 of 3 from Georgia Tech. Louisville 2 weeks ago beat Stanford in their highest-ranked win since 2019, led by the senior in Chelsea Mack.
Yeah, the Cardinals' center fielder is going to put a lot of pressure on this infield of Clemson's. She can put the ball in play, she can bunt, she can run, and she is fast.
Mack leads the ACC in stolen bases. Louisville leads the conference in speed as well. And on the other side, another Mack in Pavesi, the freshman first baseman.
Everybody knew that when Pavesi came here that John Rittman got a very, very good freshman prospect. But I don't believe anybody knew that she was going to be this good. Hits for power, hits for average, can run, play first base. Good prospect.
And ready to release her first pitch is the Tigers ace in the USC Upstate transfer, Sierra Manis. Scott, second in the conference in ERA. Manis is gearing into midseason form.
She has gotten a little better just about every week.
Faces Easton Lotus, one of 5 mashers at the top of this lineup. A slap-heavy crew. Hitting over 360 this season are the Cardinals, coming off of a extra inning win over Evansville on Tuesday, as Manis delivers with a curveball on the inner half, but Robbie Guest says it misses as we look at this Cardinal lineup led by head coach Holly April, as Bree Despinese with the walk-off single on Tuesday in that 3 spot. She had been the cleanup for most of non-con play, as both these coaches have experimented with their lineups, and thus far, Easton Lotus has had a lethal eye on these tight pitches. And the count is 3-1.
You don't want to be 3-1 against Louisville's top half.
Lotus slaps it foul.
The way you're going to have to attack a team like Louisville, who loves to use the short game a bit, slap game, and loves to run, is keep them off base. And the first step of keeping them off base is getting an 0-1 count in the at-bat, because if you pitch from behind, they know the ball's going to be around the plate, and they can put it in play.
3-2 here to the leadoff hitter, and it's a chopper up the middle and a leadoff single for Lotus. She has now reached in 20 straight as Louisville took a week off of conference play with this unbalanced ACC schedule. Took down Illinois with a pair of come-from-behind wins last season and a midweek win over Evansville. Meanwhile, Clemson had a come-from-behind win of their own on Tuesday. Allowed a run early against Winthrop, and then the catcher Corey Hicks disposed of a 3-run home run in the first, as Manis came in relief, delivered 3 1/3 no-hit innings. And here is the headliner on the stat sheet in Chelsea Mack, who transferred after her first season at Kentucky.
This is an impressive player, and she can really run.
And she finds that 5-6 hole. Back-to-back singles from the slappers, and it sets up the Kent State transfer in Despinese.
A little bit of trouble for Manis starting out here, but we're not surprised that Lotus and Mack put the ball in play. And to be honest with you, in Mack's case, having a runner ahead of her on second base may slow her up a little bit.
That's a good point.
Right now, though, if you're Clemson, you need an out.
19 stolen bases over on first base in Mack as Despinese takes low. Bree has reached in every game this season, the vocal leader on this Cardinal team, despite just becoming a newcomer. Ingratiated herself quickly into the clubhouse as Despinese looks to sacrifice and fouls it back. Louisville leads the nation in sacrifice hits over the last 2 seasons.
And she was trying to move the runners, no doubt, but the style of bunt she did was
more of a drag.
Almost a drag bunt, yeah.
Surprisingly, our scoreboard called that a ball. We watched that foul back, right? The count should say 1-2, but our scoreboard and the one here on ACC Network Extra is matching that 2-1. But we look at these numbers for Louisville, 15th in the country in batting average, as the 2-1 pitch misses outside. We believe the count is now 2-2, so that's what we are going to show.
That's what we've got.
With Cameron Luckadoo waiting on deck. Pivotal at-bat here early in this ACC tilt. It's a changeup, freezing to Spinese. Strike 3 from Manis, and it's an up in the zone off speed.
And that was a great call by whoever was calling that pitch. Coach April thinks that ball was a little bit high, but unfortunately, she and Coach Rittman don't get to vote on the calls by the home plate umpire.
So to bring up another Kentucky transplant in Cameron Luckadoo, as we take a look at the 8th-year head coach, Holly April, led the Cardinals to the regionals back in 2023. They are sitting just on the outside of the ESPN Top 25 rankings, as Luckadoo has pushed herself into the 4 spot.
Yeah, Luckadoo.
Another 400 hitter, Scott.
Yep, and she's like the linchpin to this inning offensively right now for the Cardinal.
Good front door curveball from Manis, who keeps the ball down in the zone. We had a game a few weeks ago against Mississippi State where they had 12 groundouts.
Yes.
And a shutout victory for Manis, part of an ACC Pitcher of the Week campaign. And there is another chopper right into the dirt. Manis has to hurry. And Lotus holds up at third, so runners move up 60 feet here with 2 outs, and it brings up Madison Pickens. And about Manis, she was a first-team All-Big South pitcher a season ago and has gotten better here into her junior season.
Well, I think she's really benefited, you know, with being a year older, maybe a change of scenery. She had a great career playing for my friend Chris Hawkins up at USC Upstate, but Kyle Jamison, has helped her, the pitching coach of Clemson, has helped her game.
Pickens, part of 4 consecutive 400 hitters here for Louisville, and we are 24 games in.
She's only a sophomore.
And a Georgia product as well, as Pickens takes outside 2-0. And with Jordan Williams on deck, we'll see how careful Manis is with Pickens.
Well, they do have a base open. I mean, she's got 7 balls to get 3 strikes.
2 on, 2 out. This is spoiled away 2-1 as Pickens has an 8-game hitting streak. Cardinals have 10 come from behind wins, but they would love to start this one with a lead. Both these teams have been familiar coming from behind early in ball games, as Pickens spoils this. And if the fans don't realize it, they are in the makings of what should be a fantastic day here on campus. 3 consecutive high-level sporting events in a row, all within 1,000 feet of each other. As Hicks tries to frame a changeup and the count runs full.
And you see time call and pitching coach Kyle's going to go out there and just tell her, do not give in to this girl. You got a base open. Be sure you make a good pitch. Kyle Jamison, the veteran pitching coach.
Yep, 2025 D1 Softball Pitching Coach of the Year.
Former head coach at Furman. Been around the game a long time. And I'm quite confident one of the things that he's talked about while he was out there, do not give up anything cheap.
Scott, this is a team that puts the ball in play in Louisville. A payoff pitch to Pickens. Right on cue, she spoils a pitch down in the zone. One more look at these national numbers. ACC as well for Louisville, a team that started the season red hot. And if you talk about a small ball offense, those are the numbers you want to lead in. Stolen bases, sack bunts, but then the triples come out of nowhere as Pickens gets plunked.
Wasn't deliberate, it just got away from her. She was trying to push her inside.
Yeah, she'll take her base. It looked like it nearly hit the bat.
Yeah. Well, in that situation, if you're going to miss, you want to either miss way in or way out. The pitch before that, she missed way in. That time, she got her on the elbow.
Yeah, ribs, hip, elbow. And it brings up Jordan Williams, the sophomore right fielder, who was 1 for 1 on Tuesday with an RBI against Evansville, as Manis has run out of room on the base paths. Has to come to the Georgia native here, hitting .391. Strenuous top of the first inning for Clemson's ace. And now a hitter's count.
And it's just pitching from behind entirely too much in the early going. A lot of times, if you're going to get to a really good pitcher, you got to get them early before they get settled in.
2-0 catches the zone with Lotus at third. Plenty of speed at second base in Chelsea Mack. Pickens, who was just hit by a pitch at first base. 2-1. Chopped foul, and Manis once again is 1 strike away from putting up a 0 here in the top of the first inning. Very similar to Friday last week. 3 runs scored by Georgia Tech in that first. Clemson would score 3 as well, but the Tigers are hoping to rewrite the script here.
I wonder if she'll throw a changeup.
2-2, it was off speed and back up the middle. Pickens strikes, speed from Mack as the throw comes up and over Hicks. The Cardinals with 2 runs on a 2-out hit by Pickens, and both move up 60 feet, runners at second and third.
I'll be anxious to see if they assign an error on that play. That there was clearly a base hit with 2 RBI, but the runners did advance because the throw from Brockenbrough sailed high over the catcher's head.
Think about it, that's the pressure that Max Speed puts on a fielder like Brockenbrough, and it brings up Taylor Monroe, who makes a return from injury. Tremendous play by Collins. She will airmail the catcher, and on an infield single, Monroe moves to second. Good to see her moving around after missing the last week and a half, as Louisville scores 3 here and is continuing to put pressure as Riley Janda comes to the plate.
And a lot of this has been self-inflicted. When I say self-inflicted, I'm talking about the 2 bad throws that we've had back-to-back.
Yeah, regardless, Scott, you talk about death by 1,000 cuts. It has been singles, and then a hit by pitch, and then a couple more singles. 4 hits in this inning for Louisville, all of them just taking what the pitcher gives them, huh?
Yep, and then the third run was scored off was scored by a player who got to move up on a bad throw. So you're right, they're just like darting them to death right now. Little, just bang, 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 bang. No booms, just a lot of pings.
Meanwhile, Abby Dunning, who threw a 7-inning no-hitter last Saturday, is warming up in the Clemson bullpen, as Riley Janda, the third baseman hitting 8th, takes outside the zone. In a game of 1 pitch really carrying weight, Manis had a couple 2-strike opportunities with the score tied. Louisville came up with big 2-out hits as the count evens 1-1.
Yeah, she got in a jam early. Looked like she might wiggle out of it.
2-1 the count with the 9-hitter Addie Odell on deck. Over 30 pitches thrown in this inning for Manis. That just misses. 3-1, and the fans are starting to get frustrated. 3 runs in the first inning on Friday for Georgia Tech. 3 runs 1 week later here for Louisville. Another full count. Monroe at second, Williams at third. Back-to-back 2-out singles have scored 3 runs. Two misses outside, and all 9 Louisville hitters will come to the plate in this first inning. It's Addie Odell with an opportunity to blow this first inning open.
Yes, and freshman shortstop not played a lot this year. Only 13 games she's appeared in, only has 11 at-bats.
Now Odell filling in for the injured Monroe the last few games. This pitch gets by Hicks. The throw hits off of Williams. Monroe gets caught up and tagged out at third. So Louisville will score 4, but run themselves out of the inning. The Cardinals, with a 2-out rally, take us to the bottom of the first, up by 4. Transfer from Ohio University, and Scott, we highlighted the 2 MACs for each side. Anna Wise came from the MAC Conference, where she was a second-teamer, and just the second start of the season for a bullpen arm. Certainly expecting some craftiness from this soft-throwing lefty.
Well, she's 5-3 on the season. She has had some work. She's pitched 44 innings, so she's hardly unused, but this is a little bit different role for her.
Certainly a big opportunity here on the road against a top 20 RPI team in Clemson, as Jamison Brockenbrough has been a mainstay at the top of the Tigers lineup. We look at Kylie Chanel, who has filed into that 2 spot here over the last few weeks. Day off again for Macy Cintron, with Kylie Johnson and Taylor Pipkins in the corner outfield spots. But again, you highlighted Mac Pavesi in the open, Scott, and Marion Collins as well, a threat in the cleanup hole. It all starts here with the leadoff hitter in Brockenbrough. Certainly going to see a down ball heavy approach from Anna Wise, who sits in the low 60s. Drop and drop curve are her 2 strengths. There's Jamison with 2 hits on Tuesday against Winthrop. Starts the bottom of the first inning with a deep fly ball, taking Pickens to the warning track, and that carried down that left field line for an F7.
Pickens did a great job. That ball was tailing away from her and also being blown by the wind. She just stuck with it and ran to the ball. The key to making that play is running through the catch. And you see she continued movement all the way through the catch.
So Pickens, who was hit by a pitch in the first inning, came around to score, a part of the 4-run, 2-out rally for the Cardinals. As the first out, it brings up Kylie Chanel. Sure fielding shortstop, who has hit her way to the 2-hole. Transfer from FAU down in Boca Raton, Florida.
She has come in and played a very, very good game of shortstop for the Tigers.
It's a Tigers team that is quietly turning into a bit of Floridians. 4 of the 9 hail from the great state. Good curveball on the inner half, 2-1.
Clemson needs not to panic. They need to just try to pick away, pick away, pick away. And then when they go out there to play defense, they've got to be cleaner and they've got to throw strikes.
Yeah, we talked to 7th-year head coach John Rittman yesterday. Felt like they have not played their best softball this season. They do have 4 top 25 wins and an RPI at 19, as Riley Janda leads the ACC in assists, and we see how sure fielding her glove is there.
We got a couple of good third basemen in this ball game. As you said, number 7 there leads the league in assists. And Brode, the third baseman for Clemson, is just an outstanding freshman with very soft hands. So we got a couple of real good people on the hot corner this weekend.
Well, here's Clemson's other freshman. As an impact player, Mac Pavesi leads the team in hitting. Trying to set the stage here with 2 outs in the first against Anna Wise, who has created soft contact all season long for Louisville. Wise went 2 1/3 in relief on Tuesday, allowing 2 runs against Evansville. She got bailed out by the 3-run 6th inning by her squad and the walk-off in the 8th. As this is rolled up to Pavesi and the count 2-1.
That was your basic 38-footer right there.
Yeah, Mac had a tape measure shot in the first inning against Georgia 2.5 weeks ago in that run rule win over a top 15 foe. And she'll chop this off her hands Odell, the freshman, cannot make a throw. It's a 2-out knock for Pavesi.
And you know what? She made a good choice on that. Just eating that ball, because by the time she reached way out to fill that ball, she was off balance. And you see here on the replay, right there, she knew that only bad things could happen if she threw the ball.
Well, certainly wise for her age, just making her 5th start at the college level. Addie Odell over at short. And it brings up Marion Collins, who has had a power bat this season. Team leading 5 home runs and 21 RBIs for the all-region shortstop from a season ago.
And she's coming into her own. She's only a sophomore, but she's doing a lot of different things better than she did a year ago.
See that OPS up above 1,100 as the tight zone continues for both pitchers. The bubbles, you wonder where they come from. It's the deep end. A tailgater turned outfield viewing section in right center, or right down the right field line, I should say, here at McWhorter, as Anna Wise a strike away from a shutdown frame. Now the bubbles got shut down last week with the wind blowing in, so you wonder if...
And the smoke.
Yeah. Right now the bubbles are bothering Williams out in right field as Marion Collins fouls off the 1-2. You know, I've talked to a few coaches around the ACC, and they all kind of gravitate that McWhorter is not a fun place to play for a visiting team.
Well, they've done a great job with the upload of this program, and the atmosphere here is always great.
1-2, and Marion continues to battle.
And they're smart softball fans. What I mean by that is they pay attention to their team. They know who's playing. They know what position they play. They know what they should be doing. This is a good bunch of people to watch softball.
And on a 60-degree day, it's a lot better to be in the sun than the shade.
It sure is.
1-2 pitch to Collins, and she continues to spoil.
Yep, she's just fighting things off right now. Fighting things off till she maybe could get one to handle.
A lefty-lefty battle here. As we take a look at the burn down the left field foul line. You could bring your chairs and sit past the outfield fence here at McWhorter Stadium.
They start lining up an hour and a half before the game to be in the right spot for general admission to get the seat they want out there on the berm.
And today there is a ticket package. You can go and see Clemson softball, gymnastics, and then baseball. It's part of a triple header here on campus as the 2-2 from Wise is taken. And this is a veteran at-bat from Marion Collins, looking to extend the frame after Sierra Manis had 4 singles cost her in the top of the first.
Pavesi will be off and running.
3-2. Right back up the middle, and Collins extends the inning. Pavesi was moving with the pitch, and she is thrown out at third base.
I don't think that's going to stand.
Mack with a BB from center, and there will be a quick replay usherance from Coach Rittman, who had a great view. And I agree, Scott, I thought that the tag was a little late.
Let's see what they're going to do.
Let's get our first look.
I think she's safe, but that's just me.
Well, you see Janda trying to sell the call. The trailing umpire, because there was no umpire at third in that instance, Robbie Guest was trying to get up that third base line. Pavesi, who runs well, took a stutter step rounding second base. A superb throw by Mack, who has been a mainstay in center field the last 3 seasons. Trying to pick up her 2nd assist of the year, as you see Coach April. Let's get our second look now. Seems like that foot may have gotten in under the tag.
Let's see here. There's the ball. The ball did beat her, but her foot beat the glove. And I don't think there's any question of that, at least it's not from my angle. See, the ball beat her, but if you watch the foot is now on the base, and the glove has not touched the runner yet. And I think you're going to see an overturn of the call.
Now, Marion Collins did move up to second on that throw, so if the call is overturned, Clemson will have second and third with 2 outs for Julia Noller. Now, the third base umpire in orange thought it was safe.
Yes.
Meanwhile, we look at Holly April in her 8th season at Louisville after a decade at Pitt.
And she can coach. Very impressed with her.
So Jim Cooper is going to come out. And the call is overturned as Clemson wins their first challenge. And the Tigers are not done in this first inning. Are you feeling a little deja vu from last week, partner? A first inning very similar from Friday last week.
Yeah, I mean, it's just maybe both teams come out with a little bit of nerves, particularly the pitchers. I don't know. It's hard to say. But, you know, it's all a matter of executing with runners on base, and Louisville did a great job of executing with runners on base in their first at bat.
And a big strike one from Anna Wise to the patient Julia Noller, who has walked 18 times this season.
She had 3 RBI in midweek this week, and maybe that'll get her started. She's been a little bit slow to begin this year.
Yeah, good call. She had an RBI single in the first inning to tie it up against Winthrop. We saw that batting average at just 206, but the on-base percentage is nearing 385.
She's not getting a lot to hit.
Noller's just trying to get on base for Corey Hicks. Good pitch by Wise, has her 1 strike away. It's 1-2. Noller all-region a season ago. She hit .313 with Clemson record 19 doubles last season. Squirms this into the glove of Odell. That'll save a run for the time being, but it's an RBI single for Noller.
She even gave us an exhibition slide over there at first base.
That's a whale of a play by the freshman Addie Odell. Let's get another look.
She possibly saved a run right here. Up the middle and smothered that ball. And she did the smart thing, not throwing the ball over there. But Vasey scores easily, of course.
So a pair of infield singles, and it brings up Corey Hicks. And if you want to talk about deja vu, on Tuesday against Winthrop, Clemson down by 1, had an RBI single by Noller, and then a 3-run blast by Corey Hicks, the Oklahoma transfer, as the Tigers dug out in their 4th ACC game of the season. They have only seen close games here in ACC play, and you could say the same about Louisville. It took down a very talented Stanford team in 3.
There's going to be a lot of close games in the ACC. There's a lot of balance.
Corey Hicks, who has RBIs in 4 straight. Seeing the ball well as she'll take a screwball outside.
You got to be careful pitching to Hicks because everybody knows that she does possess the pop.
Has had a few no-doubters this season.
Wind's blowing in right now.
You know, I don't hate this decision to pitch around Hicks.
Well, they're being very careful with her. It's not just a flat-out pitch around, but they are being very, very careful.
There's a look at the 10 miles an hour wind as Hicks gears up on the 2-0, fouls it off. Yeah. Sarah Bro, the freshman from Miami, waits on deck.
That ball got a little bit more of the plate than the pitcher would have liked. I'm sure that Wise would have loved to have that pitch back.
Well, Scott, you have 5 home runs and 20 RBIs at the plate. You have no home runs, 4 RBIs on deck. We'll see what this 2-1 is. It's a pitch in the dirt, and Hicks does not go around. It's 3-1.
I agree with that call. I don't think she went around. And you know what? I'm positive John Rittman thinks she didn't go around.
2 outs, 2 on, a 4-1 Louisville lead, and the curveball misses inside as Hicks works the walk to load the bases. And so the opportunity has come. Sarah Bro, who has been so solid defensively earning a starting spot for the Tigers.
I'd love to see her be patient here and not just lunge at the first pitch, because let's see if she can throw a strike in a situation like this.
First pitch catches the inner half, and you see the hands go up from Noller, frustrated with that call.
Well, that was a gift.
Bro, who had 2 hits in back-to-back games leading into today, is now behind in the count 0-2.
Now she's buried. She's got to fight pitches off now.
Bases juiced with Collins, Noller, and Hicks. Good frame job by Despinese, but it stays outside 1-2 as we look at Bro's numbers.
That's a great point. That catcher back there is very soft and quiet.
One, two. Well, that one only went about 10 feet before it hit the dirt.
Yep. That's when you're in the Louisville dugout, you're hollering out to the home plate umpire, where was it?
Good job by Despinese to make the play.
that was like a 14-footer.
Like a shortstop trying to pick it. With Kylie Johnson waiting on deck, the 2-2 to Bro. Driven foul and a nice little Irish jig from Coach Rittman here ahead of St. Patty's Day.
He is deceptively quick.
Coach Rittman, who won his 1,000th career game 2 weeks ago against Mississippi State. Good at-bat. We saw an amazing at-bat by Collins just to spark this 2-out rally.
You know, the good news is, I mean, there's still money out there on the table, but they did get a run back.
Yep.
They did issue some type of answer to the first inning that Louisville had.
2-2. This is driven deep to left center field. Bro's first home run is a slam, and the Tigers take a 5-4 lead.
Go figure. Absolutely. That ball was down the middle, and she drove that thing out of here right through the wind. Never a question, partner. I think we both knew that ball was gone off the bat on a windy, cold day. Well,
Mac was pretty close.
First team to 18 wins, right?
What are we on pace for 80 runs? And you saw Bro throw her hands in the air after making contact. She knew right away, and it brings up Kylie Johnson with the crowd abuzz here in the first inning.
Well, Sarah Bro was highly recruited. She came here, everybody knowing she had power, and she had not hit a home run yet in her career, but she'll remember that one.
Johnson takes outside. I think we could call that a Bro bomb.
Bro bomb. And somebody ought to get a ball out of the dugout and take it out and see if they can swap it up and give that kid that ball. That's her first career home run.
Yep. If we were in Oklahoma City, they would find Bro's parents, deliver it to her. As Johnson takes low, and you have to imagine Wise has this game speeding up in her head, trying to slow it down. A few moments ago, Louisville thought the inning was over on a challenge overturned. A 4-0 lead evaporated in a few minutes. There's a strike on a late call as Kylie celebrated a birthday on Tuesday.
Yep.
In fact, it was a 2-birthday week for the Tigers.
Yep.
Chanel on Monday, Johnson on Tuesday. It's a party right now in the dugout.
Yes, it is.
As Johnson gets the 9-hitter up. And we have very similar innings to start this ball game. 4 for Louisville on a 2-out rally, 4 for Clemson, and then a 5th as well here on a 2-out rally.
They're out there looking for that ball, I believe is what they're doing, and they're wanting to swap. They're wanting to swap a ball for that home run ball.
Exactly what they're doing now out in center field. Good call, Scott.
I didn't know I had that much pull.
Those young eyes.
I didn't know I had that much pull around here.
Couldn't believe you could see it out there.
Yeah.
Brings up Taylor Pipkins, the sophomore from Georgia, as Kylie Johnson's going to test the arm of Despinese and swipe second.
Good job by Johnson, getting a good jump and getting there. Don't think I didn't hear the age joke.
Oh, I figured you might have heard it.
Yeah, I heard it. Just call the game, all right? I'll do the funny stuff. You just call the game.
It's called setting the tone, Scott. Now a runner in scoring position for Pipkins with Brockenbrough on deck as Wise has struggled to find the zone. The walk to Hicks.
And let's just say this. The patience of the Clemson hitters after the second out has been very impressive. Well, looks like she's going to go out and have a
we
talk.
might have
I don't know if it's going to be a change.
Yeah, I think Coach April is going to make a change here.
Well, let's see what we get here now. When they call timeout now, about 55 people come out of every dugout. That's going to be number 13 coming out.
Yeah, this is going to be the ace, Alyssa Zabala.
So they're going to go right to number 1.
So a pitching change here with 2 outs and a 2-0 count in the first inning. A wacky first inning to start a pivotal conference series. We'll be right back. And if you were tuning in about 10 minutes ago, the mood could not have been more different as Louisville led 4-0. And now the ace, senior Alyssa Zabala, will come in. She was unbelievable on Tuesday against Evansville out of the pen. 4 no-hit innings with a career-high 8 strikeouts. And so we'll see Zabala expected to go quite a while.
Just trying to put out the fire right now.
And you had to imagine the game plan from Coach April was to get Wise one time through the lineup and then bring in Zabala.
Right.
Did not go according to plan.
Well, technically it did. She only got to the batting order once.
2 quick outs at the top of the lineup here in this first inning, and then Pavesi, Collins, Noller all with singles. Sarah Breaux with the grand slam to take the lead. As Pipkins ahead in the count 2-1. Takes a strike. Now here's a fun fact for you. If Pipkins were to walk, the walk would go to the previous pitcher.
That's correct. Zabala inherited a 2-0 count and has come in and pumped 2 quick strikes.
Yep, 3.0 ERA, and Zabala disposes of Pipkins with 3 pitches. The damage was done. 2-out rallies. The headlines in the first. We'll tell you more when we come back. Louisville put together a 2-out rally with a couple big RBI singles. Key hit here by Taylor Monroe in her return from injury. The Cardinals were feeling good until Sarah Breaux, with the bases loaded and 2 outs, hit her first collegiate home run, a grand slam to give Clemson the lead. It's got a topsy-turvy 9-run, 9-hit first inning.
That was crazy. And it was just so different how one team did it as opposed to the other, but they all add up. But it was. The fans have to feel great. And like you said, 15 minutes ago, things were very quiet in this ballpark. Now it is jumping, and the onus is upon Sierra Manis now. She needs to go out and get them a shutdown inning, but she's right back into the fire because it's the top of the order.
First, Addie Odell.
That's right, they got the caught running.
Yep, she was at the plate when Taylor Monroe was thrown out at third. So Odell will lead off the second here against Sierra Manis, who is now pitching with a lead. And this is where we bring in the Louisville comeback Cardinals. 4 consecutive comeback wins for Louisville. And they are staring down a 1-run deficit. Still early in this contest as a backdoor curveball evens the count 1-1.
And if you're Manis, you've got to stay ahead in the count. I just think a lot of her trouble came in the first inning because she was pitching from behind a lot.
There's a quick look. I'll show you it again here. Louisville's last 4 games, and you can even say their last 6 wins. You bring up those 2 Stanford wins 2 weeks ago. All 6 of them have been via the comeback. A team that is unafraid regardless of the score.
That's characteristic, I would say, about their coach. They're not going to quit. They're going to compete all the way to the end.
Holly April, who told me, we do not want to be coming back all the time.
I know she does that. No, it's not. It's not.
It's not by choice,
no.
As Manis delivers a strikeout, her second. So we'll see if this one eventually settles down here, Scott, but take me through the mind of a coach when you have a 9-run first inning.
Well, I mean, both coaches are wondering, you know, how do we get people out right now? And, you know, but they both know they can score right now. They're both veteran coaches, so nobody's going to panic.
Back to the top of the lineup is Easton Lotus.
Yes,
strike one.
And it was big to get that first out.
Yep. Yeah, we'll see if things do indeed settle down. Clemson with a couple pitchers duels on Saturday and Sunday here against Georgia Tech last week, but won game one 9-4. There were 6 runs scored in that first inning.
Yeah, Saturday's game against Tech was one of the most unique games I've ever called or saw or witnessed.
Yeah, scoreless until the bottom of the 7th. Corey Hicks with a walk-off home run to complete an Abby Dunning no-hitter.
Yeah, and there was only 2 hits in the whole game.
Unbelievable.
I mean, it was a base hit that meant nothing in the 4th inning, and then Hicks hits the ball out of the park to end it.
Good pitch there to Lotus with Chelsea Mack on deck. And, you know, I thought about it, Scott, and I wanted to ask you as the day goes along, but I wonder how unique it would be to celebrate a no-hitter from the dugout instead of from the circle.
Yeah, that had, yeah, I mean, she done an incredible job. But it was a team win no matter what.
Yep.
Because that game also featured great catches by the outfield for Clemson. That pitch looked awfully good, but
yeah, just off the outer half. Full count here to the leadoff hitter, Lotus. Slapped into that 5-6 hole, and these 2 Cardinals at the top of the lineup are red hot this season, both hitting over 400.
They're machines, man, I'm telling you. They just get up there and they know what they're going to do. They know who they are. They don't try to do more than they can. And they're just very, very good softball players.
You mentioned it, 1st to 15 might be a reasonable ask as Chelsea Mack 1 for 1 with a single and a walk. Lotus will scoot to second on a wild pitch that got just by the glove of Hicks. We'll see, it might be a pass ball.
And that's one of those things where you got to be clean if you want to win and you want to have shutdown innings. You got to be clean. There was a ball that got away from either Manis or the catcher. I don't know how they scored it.
Yeah, still waiting on the official scoring of that. Regardless, Chelsea Mack now in a hitter's count at 2-0.
Again, if you have confidence with being able to go up against a 3 and 4 hitter, it is, you know, not bad to have a base runner in front of Mack on the base path, because it slows her game down a little bit, because she is a fast break waiting to happen.
Despinese on deck. And the count 3-1 here as Manis is laboring with Dunning ready in the bullpen. And a look at Mack's numbers. Obviously the stolen bases. Batting average up near 500. She'll work the walk here with 1 out.
It was really big to get that first out, even bigger now.
Brings up Bree Despinese, the senior from Illinois. First pitch swinging. Going the short way is Collins to get the sure out. Both runners move up on the 4-3 putout.
That's a sign of some maturity on that second baseman's part. Collins realized she didn't have a chance to turn a double play, and she knew that her momentum was taking her to the first base, and she got the out.
Yeah, it's a great point, Scott, because right off the bat, and here's a look at the umpire trying to get out of the way. Got close to Jim Cooper. As the first pitch to Cameron Luckadoo is a strike, but fans at home might think, why wouldn't you at least go for the force out? But at the softball side of things, a 1st and 3rd is similar to a 2nd and 3rd.
Absolutely.
So Collins goes the easy way, and a chopper comes to Chanel. Oh, in and out of the glove of the sure-handed shortstop, and a 2-out error gives Louisville their 5th run, and we're tied.
Boy, they just don't quit, do they? They're like bees swarming around you all the time. That speed, the speed of the base runners affected the shortstop there. And it shouldn't have, but it did.
So now there's runners on the corners. Luckadoo at first. Mack, plenty of speed at third for Madison Pickens. Scored a run off a hit-by-pitch last inning. She'll take ball 1. Luckadoo with 2 steals this season. Certainly expecting her to try to take second at some point. But how much of the chess game is it with the runner at first and third, trying to have that in the mind of the pitcher and catcher?
Yeah, and you either...
This is blooped into left, and again the Cardinals strike with 2 outs. They'll take the lead 6-5.
Ball was up, and they didn't try to do too much with it, and she just went with it and served it up out there. And just like that, the 1-run lead becomes a 1-run deficit.
And the singles fest continues.
And they're not done.
2 on, 2 out for Jordan Williams, who takes a curveball inside.
Jordan Williams hitting 400 on the year. 1 for 1 today, already has an RBI.
Yep, it was Williams who started the scoring last inning with a 2-run, 2-out single up the middle.
And I think John Rittman has seen enough. Now let's see.
Yeah, with the count 2-0, we may see a similar move in consecutive half innings.
I know that he's walking out there with a purpose right now. He is not happy.
Sarah Bro, who hit the grand slam in the first inning. The second Tiger in program history to have a grand slam as their first home run.
How about that?
I'm going to send that out in the ether as our Affleck trivia question.
Okay.
To see if anyone can remember who the first is, as Abby Dunning will continue to warm up in Clemson's bullpen, but the move was not made. So the ace in the circle trying to work through some trouble here in the second. Nearly 60 pitches thrown and a 2-out error. The result of now 2 runs scored as Williams takes strike 1. Luckadoo and Pickens on the base paths. Williams fouls it off 2-2. Well, Louisville has been waiting for an ACC foe for a few weeks. They started their season against Stanford, scoring 4 runs in the bottom of the 7th to win the series, and faced Illinois, Ball State, Evansville the last week and a half, as Manis will eclipse the 60-pitch mark. Try to battle here against the sophomore Williams.
And the thing that impresses me about the Louisville hitters is they just try to hit the ball where it's pitched. They don't try to do anything fancy. They just want to be very good at what they do.
Manis sets the side down, but a 2-out error and another 2-out rally has Louisville back on top, 6-5. Sides. We talked about that 2024 series, the last time these teams played. And in game 1 of that series, Alyssa Zabala was looking for a complete game win, but Julia Noller, Abby Vieira, and the Tigers had 3 hits to score 3 runs in the 7th. They would take games 1 and 3 in Louisville. So the Cardinals are looking for a bit of comeback. As Coach Rittman asked us on our call yesterday, Scott, he said, do you think we can win a slugfest? Did he know that we would have one the next day?
I guess he wants to know.
Jamison Brockenbrough at the top of the lineup here against Zabala, who is now pitching with the lead for Louisville.
And Brockenbrough has done a terrific job for the Tigers since transferring in here from University of Tennessee a year ago. followed Mackenzie Clark out there in center field and has been nothing less than spectacular defensively.
Zabala high on that pitch. Alyssa added a changeup to her arsenal this offseason, sits in the mid-60s. Has told her go-to is the curve as she chases Brockenbrough in on the hands with the curveball in the count 1-2.
Well, if you have a changeup, if you pitch in the mid-60s, a changeup makes that mid-60s pitch look like it's 75.
Zabala replaced Anna Wise, got a strikeout on Pipkins to end the first. And that scoreboard is quite busy. 6 runs on 6 hits for Louisville, 5 runs on 5 hits with 3 errors for Clemson. And there's the changeup. Brockenbrough barrels it into the wind and into the glove of Mack in right center. And balls to right field may be dying today, partner.
They are, and also she got that ball off the end of the bat just a little bit. Had a good swing on it, just caught it on the end of the bat, but anything hitting the air out to right center field is going to have to be a very good shot to get out of here with the wind blowing in.
There's Mack, who is errorless this season. There's Kylie Chanel, who had a birthday on Monday, looking to shake the cobwebs of that error as she bloops this into center. Oh my goodness, what a catch! Oh, but Lotus and Odell collide.
And let's see how everybody is, because there was some shoulders involved, knees involved.
Yeah, luckily it looks like some movement.
I've seen the shortstop. That was awful.
Certainly was physical. Lotus, who made the catches on her feet. Clemson's trainer, Dylan Tyler, I should say, got up quickly there to see if he can come help.
Lotus, the second baseman, is moving around pretty good. In this dugout, this stadium became very quiet very quickly. This was 2 athletes that were just going 100% to make a play for their team.
And Louisville starting shortstop Taylor Monroe just came back from injury today. She's in the DP spot. And fans are giving their applause as Addie Odell has sat up.
I don't know if she's going to be able to continue or not. She got hit pretty hard.
Yeah, it was an unbelievable play by Lotus. She covered ground in an instant. And Odell, freshman from Illinois. Trying to make sure that Easton's all right.
Yeah, she's trying to. Look at this. She may be staying in this game.
So now, Coach, both middle infielders have made superb plays as we get our first look.
Well, it was more of a glancing blow than I thought it was. That angle makes me feel better about him, because I thought it was more of a glancing blow than I first thought. But you never want to see young people hurt.
You know, on that first look, I think Odell could have made the catch if Lotus wasn't there.
Yeah, they both got great jumps on the ball. They both were hustling. It was absolutely nobody mean nothing by it. You know, it was nobody was being lazy. Nobody was not hustling.
So at the moment, it seems like everyone will stay in here with 2 outs Nobody on base. Mac Pavesi due to the plate. In a game with a furious pace. Chance to just breathe for these Cardinal middle infielders. I do think coming out, it feels like Lotus is the one that is limping a little bit more. Trying to shake off Stinger.
I was worried about her knee.
Yeah.
Because I thought her knee had been...
That's what I was worried. It maybe went into Odell, but instead it seemed like the bodies collide and everybody is shaking it off as Pavesi takes a strike from Zabala. Mac, who sparked the 5-run, 2-out rally with her single in the first inning. Takes a changeup, just high. This has the feels of a game with not many half innings without scoring.
Yes.
Strike there on the inner half. We are going to chat with Louisville head coach Holly April in the next half inning. And I have a feeling she's going to have some good things to say about the grit in her underclassmen. Pavesi barrels this foul and just out of the reach of Pickens down the left field line.
We've already seen Pickens make one fine play going that exact same way.
We'll see the 7, 8, 9 due up for Louisville in the third. Pavesi sticks the bat out and extends the AB. 4 runs in the top of the first inning for Louisville. Clemson struck back with 5 in the bottom of the first, and now all 9 of those runs were scored with 2 outs. Louisville struck back with two outs in the second as Pavesi lines this directly to Mac, and a 1-2-3 inning for Zabala. We'll catch up with Coach April on the other side. Your head coach for Louisville, and Coach, you've got 6 2-out runs. What does that tell you about your team and the way they're able to grit it out?
Yeah, I mean, just relentless. Like we're just working at fighting every single pitch, and that's, you know, we're just working at it.
Well, you know, your team just keeps going and going and going, and you know, a big story has been your comebacks of late. And I know as a coach, you would much rather not have to experience that, because as a coach, they don't understand that those comebacks are fun to watch, but they're killing you.
Yes, that is very true. That is very true.
Yeah.
It goes towards our resilience. It goes towards our, our fight and what we're trying to do at the plate, and really the entire game, how we're trying to play. But yeah, ideally, obviously this has been a battle so far in the beginning of this game. So we're just going to keep battling.
All right, looking forward to it. Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you very much.
Holly April, who is the South Carolina assistant before 10 years at the helm. Pittsburgh, now in her 8th season, they were holding up play for us there. Holly had to go coach third base, so we appreciate the time as Taylor Monroe makes her return after missing 4. Picked up an RBI single in the first, and will lead things off against Sierra Manis. Quick ground out to short, and that's the Kylie Chanel that most Clemson fans have come to love this season.
And the Sierra Manis.
Yeah, ground balls.
Ground balls and quick work, throwing strikes.
Now Clemson would be up 5-4 if not for that 2-out error last inning. And it's funny, all 11 runs scored in this game so far have come with 2 outs as Riley Janda takes strike 1.
That is a good stat.
Now we're seeing a pounding of the zone. 3 strikes to start this inning. Manis would love to get the meat of the lineup back up as soon as possible, with Collins, Noller, and Hicks due up in the bottom of the third. 2 misses high to the 8-hitter Janda.
And we've talked about Janda's ability to play third base. She's got a very, very, very good game over there defensively.
Just outside.
Now, I will say this. The only thing you can ask out of an umpire is consistency. And the home plate umpire has been consistent today.
Yeah, consistently hitter-friendly as the count runs full.
But as a coach, I'm just saying if they're consistent, then they're doing their job.
Ground ball in that 5-6 hole. Chanel makes the play, but no chance at a throw. And it is the 7th single for Louisville. All hits, the same variety thus far.
And this is one of the better sights of the whole day. You're seeing the shortstop, Addie Odell, step into the batter's box, because for a brief moment last inning, we didn't know if she'd stay in the game.
It's a great point. You know, I wanted to ask Coach about Odell, but the whole game was holding up for us, so we let her go. But there is no doubt that this freshman has a solid future ahead of her if she's going to be a gamer like we saw last half inning.
You're correct.
Just the 5th start of the season, filling in for the injured Monroe. Odell scored a run on Tuesday. Now behind in the count, 0-2 with 1 out, 1 on. Top of the lineup next.
Well, the good news for the Cardinals is that Monroe is back in the batting order.
Yeah.
So she's working her way back into playing. But this young freshman here, Odell, just has all the earmarkings of just a scrappy player. We already found out how tough she is by what she just showed us by getting up, because I'm pretty sure I'd still be laying out there.
Well, the hitter on deck, Easton Lotus, is still trying to shake off some lower leg pain from that collision. 1-2. Outside. Maness had gotten ahead of the count to Janda, who singled. Now went from 0-2 to 2-2 to Odell.
Throwing strikes is just so important.
Runner is off. Hicks into center field with the throw. And Louisville has swiped their 60th bag of the season. But hold on a second. Odell.
Struck out swinging.
Yeah, she swung at that late then, didn't she?
Yeah.
Okay, I missed that. Good call. So I wonder if the swing, Scott, was to just try to distract the catcher on a pitch out of the zone. Let's see if we can get another look. And I think Coach Rittman is going to plead for a hitter obstruction.
No, I think Coach Rittman is going to plead for getting the runner called out for leaving early, where Odell has to come back in the batter's box with 2 outs.
Interesting. All right, well, we're going to certainly test our talented replay crew back in the studio.
Well, let's see. I guess it
does not seem like we'll see a challenge.
Well, we won't.
Ooh, she might have left early. And I don't see a swing. Do you see a swing there by Odell? Regardless, it was a strike, so she's called out on strikes. 3rd strikeout for Maness, and there's 2 down for Easton Lotus.
Yep, but it was a late call.
Yeah, late strike 3 call. I was already looking up at second base. And we look at Lotus hitting .350 this season, leading the conference with 4 triples.
And you got a base open for her, but you've got just a horrible situation on deck, because Mack goes up to the plate. You don't want to face her either.
Yeah, she's hitting .480. Infield creeping in against the slapper. Takes strike 1. How desperately does Clemson need a 0 in the box score.
The old rule of thumb is that slappers do not like to be pitched inside. They like to be pitched away.
2-1 on a bunt look, evens the count. Thus far, Louisville is 3 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Two here with 2 outs and a runner at second. And Lotus down on strikes. Manis shows some emotion as she puts up a donut in the top of the third. A pair of strikeouts for the upstate transfer. Pinching the corner. Gonna watch your favorite sport on the new ESPN app, especially into the madness that is March. As we bring you to the bottom of the third inning here at beautiful McWhorter Stadium with Death Valley in the backdrop. Doug Kingsmore just behind us, getting ready for top 15 baseball showdown tonight between Georgia Tech and Clemson on ACC Network as Pro Day. Is that what went on yesterday? I believe so. For the Tigers. Across the way as Marion Collins looking to stop this run from Zabala, who has retired all 4 hitters since coming in.
Well, for almost the 40th year, it doesn't look like I'm going to be drafted by any NFL team.
No, I don't think so, Scott. But I can tell you what, if you hurry, you could maybe make it to gymnastics and then baseball tonight as a part of the Super Fan Friday here on campus with an important semifinal in Charlotte as well at 9:30. For Clemson's basketball program, who beat North Carolina last night for just the 2nd time in their ACC tournament history. But the gymnastics team is top 15 in the country. They are primed for a postseason run. Baseball looks to bounce back after a loss last night as Zabala is carving her way through this Clemson lineup with 1 down to bring up Julia Noller.
Not her best swing. But Zabala is a very fine pitcher.
Yep, all conference in 2023. Had a 4 ERA and 11 wins last season. For a Louisville team that went 1 and done in the tournament, finished 10th in the ACC. Right. A statement weekend opportunity here for Louisville. 1-0 to Noller. Fouled back as Julia picked up the first RBI of the contest for Clemson with an infield single in the first.
And slid head first at first base.
She did.
Which, if you believe the people who do these kind of studies, that does not necessarily get you there quicker.
Looks better. 1-1 from Zabala. This is low.
That was a 66-mile-an-hour drop ball.
Zabala with back-to-back outings in the last week with 8 strikeouts. Absolutely carved up the Evansville hitters in relief on Tuesday. Pitched well against Illinois last weekend in a non-con Big Ten versus ACC showdown. Hitters count for Noller. She'll work the 5. Ooh. Now I'm seeing where the late strike comes up. Teaches patience in the broadcast booth. Let's take another look.
It backed up over the plate.
That looked like a good pitch. Fans serenading the junior, who takes up and in as Noller will work her way on with 1 out. And a chance for Corey Hicks to give Clemson a lead again.
And she can turn on one at any minute.
Hicks, who played sparingly at Oklahoma last season, did have a home run in their run to the World Series, but just 3 home runs on just 6 hits last year for Corey Hicks. Made the transfer to Clemson and is a mainstay as the backstop. As
Well, she was a part of a logjam at catcher out there at Oklahoma. Her move was strictly about playing time, but not in a bad way, just wanting the opportunity.
And a .450 on-base percentage. Hitting behind Noller, you wonder how much Julia Noller has impacted some of these underclassmen around her.
Well, you think about that kind of stuff, but then again, Clemson has not really put together a consistent batting order yet. I mean, they've been trying lots of things to make it work, you know, so it's not always the same person hitting behind Noller, hitting in front of Noller. And I think once they get settled in, it will be to everybody's benefit.
Yeah, we'll chat with the skipper and Coach Rittman next half inning.
He looks like the skipper.
One to Hicks. Foul back. Back in your day coaching Kennesaw State, did you ever dress up in full uniform like the baseball coaches do?
No.
Was that ever a...
That was never a thing.
A little bit more of a casual look on the softball side.
No.
I would love to see photos of you dressed up in that Kennesaw striped white.
Oh, you would?
I would love it. 1-2 misses outside, 2-2.
Back when I played, I was so skinny. I had to have a single number, because if I had a 2-digit number,
it'd wrap around.
They were under my armpits.
First base runner against Zabala on the Noller walk as the 2-2 freezes Hicks. 3 strikeouts now for the Louisville senior in the circle.
And she just froze her. I mean, it was a pitch, and Hicks knew it. That was right down the pipe. And here comes the hero, if you're Clemson right now, for their team, Sarah Bro. We know what she did back in the first.
Bro delivered the goods. And has the only extra base hit of any player here today with her first career home run. It's a grand slam for Clemson in that 5-run first inning. This is an opposite field swing, but right at Williams, the right fielder. So another clean half inning in the circle for Zabala. We're going to catch up with Coach Rittman when we come back here in the 4th. For the 3-game set, joined by 7th-year head coach John Rittman. Coach, walk us through the emotions of that first inning and how it felt to see Sarah Bro kind of exercise a little bit of the stress from the first half of the year.
Yeah, that was a big hit for Sarah. You know, I thought we did a good job of responding. Shaky in the first inning, obviously. A couple of overthrows led to them extending the inning and moving around a little bit. So, but I love the way we responded. They came back and responded. Now we got to do the same. So, kind of a slugfest here, and hoping Sierra can settle down a little bit and get into a little rhythm here.
Yeah. Patience will be your friend for the rest of this game, won't it, Coach?
Oh, yeah. You know, it's going to be one of those back and forth. Louisville's a good team. They got a lot of speed. They put the ball in play, so we got to play some defense behind Sierra, and we got to figure out a way to score a few more runs here.
Yeah. I noticed that headset was giving you a time of it when we were getting ready for the interview. Did you get it figured out?
Yeah, it was a little tied in knots, Scott.
Oh, well, I'm glad you got it fixed. Have a good one.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Coach. John Rittman, who mentioned to us yesterday, he said, the question is, can we win a slugfest? And he brings up that word again in our interview, and it brings back the memories because it's almost like he knew that one of these games would factor in that world as Clemson makes a change behind the plate. The sophomore lefty Sam Minish takes over at catcher, and Hicks with that non-competitive at-bat at the plate. You wonder if that ignited something.
No, I think this is strictly defense.
Yep.
They've been very impressed with the way Minish has received this year. She is a Swiss Army knife, is Minish. She can play just about anywhere that a left-hander is allowed to play. I mean, she can play the outfield, she can catch, probably play first base as well.
Chelsea Mack in the 2 spot to lead things off, and she smothers this right back up the middle for Mack's second single today.
Well, you might as well now place your bets on when she's going to run. It ain't a matter of if.
And I was going to ask you, does it change for a pitcher in the circle working with a different catcher midway through?
not as much, because I guarantee you she's caught a lot of innings in the bullpen with her. I know she's caught many innings in games with her.
Brings up Bree Despinese, who is the leader in the dugout. One of the top hitters in the conference as well, and has reached in every game this season, but 0 for 2 today. The runner is off, the swing is late, Minish's throw is just tardy, and there is stolen base number 20 for Chelsea Mack.
And nobody is surprised by that in terms of her going. Straight steal all the way, never even looked back to see what was going on. She is at full speed on her second step.
RBI opportunity for Despinese, who takes outside 2-1.
And if you're going to control the Louisville lineup, you have got to keep Mack off base, because she's just a wrecking machine. She's not a runner that is afraid to do anything, including steal third base. If she gets a good jump, I would bet that Coach April gives her the green light.
And does a left-handed catcher factor in? Is it harder to throw to third?
Well, sure, because you got to make a little bit of a different turn.
It's a ground ball to short, keeps the runner at bay as Chanel fires over for out number 1.
That's a huge out right there, and not moving the runner. And also, one thing that helps Minish, though, or would help any catcher, is when they've got so many left-handed hitters, it opens up a throwing alley to throw to third base. There it is. Now a right-handed hitter's in there, and the base runners like Mack have a little bit more protection now.
Brings up Cameron Luckadoo. 0 for 2, reached on that pivotal error that scored a run in the second.
It's early in the year, but that is my favorite name so far this season, Luckadoo.
I'm enjoying it as well.
I like that name.
She started her career at Kentucky. Transferred over 2 seasons ago as a rinse and repeat grounder. This one, Mack is going to test, and the throw from Pavesi is just late. That is a risky proposition.
Yep, because there's an old adage, never make the last out at third base. But Mack, with just supreme confidence in her legs, got over there relatively easy, and Chanel and Pavesi did their jobs. I mean, there's just nothing they could do.
Yeah, a pair of freshmen in the hot corners for Clemson as Madison Pickens takes outside.
This is a big at-bat in this ball game.
Certainly is. 92 pitches for Manis, and we heard Coach Rittman say he wants her to get into a rhythm, so you imagine that the leash is pretty long. Here in the opener of a 3-game set between these sides, with a 1 o'clock start tomorrow, noon on Sunday, as Pickens' numbers just as eye-popping as the previous 2 hitters.
So much for sleeping in on the weekend. 1 o'clock start, 12 o'clock start.
Well, for the fans at home, they can sleep in until 12:59 tomorrow.
Well, we can't.
No, we cannot. It's a life we chose.
I wasn't talking about the fans. I was talking about me.
You got St. Patty's plans, Scott? This is hit well by Pickens. Johnson to the warning track, makes the grab with just a few feet to spare. As these 2 aces dueling after an extended first inning, we head to the bottom of the 4th. And the people at the Clemson ticketing had a great idea. You get 1 ticket, $15, go to softball, gymnastics, baseball. I liked it. I haven't seen anything like that.
Yeah, it's pretty unique. If I may, I'd like to make a comment about the gentleman we saw as we came back.
Are you sure?
Everybody thought he was wearing that because of being a huge fan. He's wearing that outfit to stay warm today with that wind blowing in.
I thought he was a big Frosted Flakes fan.
No, he's trying to stay warm right now.
So are the Clemson hitters as things have cooled down with Alyssa Zabala in the circle. 2 1/3 shutout frames as Kylie Johnson tries to shake it with a bunt, and the throw is late from Zabala. A leadoff single for the birthday girl in Kylie Johnson.
And you know what? That was a great idea. I mean, Johnson only hitting 182 on the year, and she did what a leadoff hitter is supposed to do, get on base any way you can. And she did that. That was the tip of the hat to her. Let's see if Pipkin bunts and moves her over.
Well, Johnson leads the team with 7 stolen bases. We'll see if they test Despinese behind home plate as Taylor Pipkins 0 for 1 faces Zabala fresh out of the pen with a 2-0 count nevertheless, and Zabala threw 3 by her as the count is 0-1 to the sophomore who hit the last Clemson Grand Slam.
Yes.
Back in the ACC tournament. Brought home ACC tournament MVP. But it was Kylie Johnson's home run that beat Florida State in the 7th as Pipkins puts down a bunt. Zabala had the opportunity to go to second. Goes with the safer route, 1 out.
That was predetermined. She was going to first base with that ball all the way. Either the coach told her that before the before the at-bat started, or the catcher very quickly told her go one, go one, go one, because Zabala never even gave second base a look.
Tying run in scoring position for the top of the Clemson lineup here in the 4th. Jamison Brockenbrough has a pair of flyouts. She takes the rise ball high at 68 miles an hour.
And that'll be scored as a sacrifice for Pipkin. That's a productive out. And with only 1 out, you got a runner in scoring position out there. Potential tying run. Good stuff.
Clemson has not scored since that grand slam by Bro. As Brockenbrough fouls it off.
That almost got everybody over there. One of the employees almost got involved in that play.
There's a Louisville fan that could not quite come up with it. I think the ball caromed out down into the parking lot area. And now 3 straight bunts for the Tigers. Brockenbrough's speed legs out the second single of the inning. The Tigers say, we see your small ball and we match it.
That is unbelievable. I mean, the team that is known for taking big swings and the team that is known for bunting has swapped places for a moment.
And runners are on the corners, and you know what that means on the softball side of things. A chess match factors in here between coaching staffs. And we wonder if Brockenbrough will go to second and if Despinese will throw down.
We need to get the Tiger up here with us for an inning. Pretty tight lip, won't talk. You got to drag it out of him.
Yeah, a little bit shy, I think.
Yeah.
They say cats are shy.
Everybody dancing.
Brings up Kylie Chanel. She popped out on that great diving play by Lotus in the 2nd. 0 for 2 today.
The infield's in, and they're squeezing.
4th butt of the inning, and the squeeze pays off. The Tigers tie it here in the 4th.
I would have lost every dime that I've ever owned because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, partner, the Clemson Tigers have bunted 4 times in 1 inning. Am I right? Didn't that just happen?
That just happened. 4 straight bunts has led to 2 base runners and a run scoring, and that is a suicide squeeze from the get-go.
Yes, it was.
And Coach, when you can't figure out a pitcher, this is the solution.
That's a very good point.
So it's called a fielder's choice RBI for Chanel. Brings up a power threat in Pavesi, who takes outside for strike 1. You had the call. You noticed the infield was in.
Yeah, they were smelling it.
Could not stop it. So now Brockenbrough, Chanel on the base paths as Pavesi fouls back the 0-1.
Finds herself in a hole. She's going to have to now try to making it bad out of this. She needs to do something productive here.
Pavesi lined out to center against Zabala in the 2nd. Singled and scored. Part of that 5-run, 2-out rally in the 1st.
I wonder if John knew he was given the bunt signal all 4 times. That was.
You think it was an accident?
I just never have seen him do that. I'm just
straight out of bench warmers.
Absolutely brilliant, but I know his mother-in-law, Miss Judy, out in California, who's watching this game today, is going to be very surprised by it and happy.
Well, you've got a couple veteran coaches dueling at every level. The mental game has factored into this fourth inning.
That was a pitch out. I don't know what they were expecting there, but I do not think Pavesi's going to be bunting, especially with 2 strikes. There he is.
Coach Rittman, who spent 25 years as a head coach, 18 of them at Stanford. A good at-bat here from Pavesi.
I know people get tired of hearing me say it. He is a great coach, but a better man. That is one of the best guys I've ever known in this business. He and his wife, Lori, are a great family. They got two grown sons now, and there couldn't have been a better person to upload this program for Clemson University.
1-2. Pavesi cannot lay off. She goes down on strikes on that check out to Aaron Golden down the third base line.
I'd like to see that again, just to...
All right, you ask, you shall receive. Right on the border.
Yeah, you can't really argue with that.
So Marion Collins, with 2 outs and 2 on, swings over the first pitch. Collins struck out swinging against Zabala, singled and scored against Anna Wise, and now an offensive time called here.
And this is all about slowing Zabala down. This right here is nothing more. I mean, you don't have what are you going to tell Collins? I mean, there's 2 outs, runners on first and second. She knows what to do. This is more about slowing down the pitcher, in my opinion.
Marion 1 for 4 with an RBI on Tuesday against Winthrop.
Well, hey, Clemson would love to get Noah up there.
A 1 foul tipped into the glove. And if you're Zabala, you probably can't be too down in the dumps. The only hits against you have been bunts.
Right, and right now you stand you're a strike away from getting out of this mess with only 1 run scored.
0-2 misses outside on an inning that started with a bunt single by Johnson. She was moved over on the sac bunt. Moved over to third on the bunt single by Brockenbrough, and then scored on the bunt by Chanel. 4 straight Clemson bunts have netted them a run here in the fourth. As Collins goes down on strikes, Zabala continues with her no-hit stuff. Her last 2 outings have been filth. We move to the 5th tie. As Virginia Tech takes on top 25 foe in Duke. Virginia has a 2-0 lead against the Yellow Jackets out in Charlottesville as Isa Torres and Florida State kick off their ACC season tonight against Syracuse. Oh, how about this? Right into the glove of Manis. She sticks with it and robs Jordan Williams of a leadoff single.
That was instinct, athleticism, and right now probably panic. But, you know, a couple of seconds after everything finished, she just realized that ball would have hit me right in the legs if I hadn't got my glove on it. But she did everything instinctively that a good athlete does. She knocked the ball down, didn't panic, got the out.
Well, don't let the score fool you. This is the pitcher's duel that we expected coming in. Louisville surprised a bit by starting Anna Wise, who was removed in the first inning, and it has been Alyssa Zabala since. Zabala has been absolutely unhittable over the last 2 outings. Manis, similarly, if you take out the 2-out rally in the first and the 2-out error in the second, Manis with 3 earned runs allowed here today, and all singles.
And she's gave up 8 hits, but they all have been singles.
Taylor Monroe sharply lines this foul. Funny enough, both of these pitchers, Scott, had relief appearances without a hit allowed in their midweek outings here this week.
How about that? And Manis did that work with the game on the line, too.
Say the same thing about Zabala. They went into extra innings against Evansville.
That's true.
Zabala, 4 no-hit innings on Tuesday. Manis with 3 1/3 no-hit on Tuesday. As Chanel will get tested with a speedster, making the throw in time to beat Monroe. I think we may have a challenge here from Louisville on a bang-bang play at first.
Let's see what we get here. Coach April is marching out that way.
And first base coach D.D. Morris tried to relay the message. The universal sign that someone is frustrated with a call is the earmuffs.
Yeah, they put their hands on their ears, and they're going to go for a review on this.
Well, why not, right? You have two challenges.
And it was close. The question is, did Pavesi keep her foot on the bag, in my opinion?
Into the replay room.
How'd you know that room was the replay room? Because there was a big sign up there.
Intuition.
Replay room. Look at that. Replay room. Don't try to make these people think you know where everything is up here.
Here's our first look. Ball and glove.
Who's out?
Runner is out. This should be a quick one. And since that error by Chanel, she has settled into a groove with 4 assists.
Yes.
And it is a quick one from Robbie Guest, as the call is confirmed for out number 2.
But you know what? The one piece of mind you have as a coach is they checked.
Checked, and like you mentioned, they slow down the pitcher.
But they know now. I mean, they're not going to be barking about that call for the next 2 innings, which I would have done back in my day.
In a way, is it worse to know?
No, I think it's better because it just shuts you up and moves you along. I probably needed that, like, in games and practice during the bus rides.
Many times.
Yeah.
Arguments with your wife.
I don't want that. I don't know.
No replay? You ever saw that State Farm commercial?
We don't talk about that, no.
Brings up Riley Janda, who has not gotten retired yet today. 1 for 1 with a single and a walk. This would be an important at-bat for Louisville. Try to turn the lineup around with the 9-hitter Odell on deck.
Yes, that's true.
Good screwball in for a strike, 1-1.
Louisville is the kind of team you just don't want to play because they're pesky. They do everything right. You have to beat them. You can't. They're not going to help you.
Due up for Clemson in the bottom half is Noller, Minish, and Bro. Minish, who replaced Hicks. Makes a nice sliding stop here, 2-2.
If the game remains 6-6, I think Minish will hit for herself. I do not think it'll be a re-enter. We'll see.
Ball outside, 3-2.
And it may strictly be coincidence, but Manus has actually settled down and pitched a little better with Minish behind the plate.
She has. Just 1 hit allowed over the last 2 innings.
And please don't think I'm belittling Hicks's skills because she's a very fine catcher and a big piece of the Tiger offense. But, you know, even the great Greg Maddox had his own personal catcher back in his heyday with the Atlanta Braves.
3-2. Chance for Bro to end the inning. And a 1-2-3 frame for the first time today for Sierra Manis. Sets the stage for her offense next. Walk us through 4 straight bunts in this inning for the Tigers.
We had 2 base hit bunts, we had a sac bunt, and we had a squeeze. A little bit of everything. I don't know what else you can do.
It might be the bunt cycle.
Yeah, and John Rittman is not known for bunting 4 times in 1 inning.
This game certainly has had it all. Louisville with 8 singles, 6 2-out runs. Clemson struck back with the grand slam by Bro in the first. Louisville took the lead 6-5 in the second, and the Tigers tied it with the small ball in the fourth as Julia Noller leads off the 5th inning And the Tigers are still looking for their first hard hit ball against Alyssa Zabala in her relief outing.
Yeah. You unknowingly brought up a great point about John Rittman and the fact that these conference games and these games right here are so tough that you got to do whatever it takes to get a run scored. And we saw him step away from what he conventionally does to manufacture a run with 4 bunts.
Noller, Minish, and Bro here in the bottom of the 5th. 0-2 from Zabala. Noller did well to just get a piece.
Now, Bro hit a pretty good line drive off of Zabala, her last at bat. But other than that, I'm really trying to think if anybody's really hit the ball hard since she's come in.
Yeah, Pavesi had a line out as well, so a couple line outs to the outfield. And this is a soft piece of hitting that just misses the chalk down that left field line.
It just kept fading. Anything get off a left-hander's bat down the left field line is going to fade away from the players. Or I guess, with a left-handed hitter, it's the fade. With a right-handed hitter, it's a hook.
Yep. It's like my golf swing.
Yes.
I'm a lefty.
So
everything goes left.
That would have been a slice.
Correct. We call it a fade. It's nicer. Here's a changeup driven back up the middle. Diving play by Lotus. Noller. Oh, she's out at first. Lotus with a web gem to start the 5th.
That's going to go straight to review.
I was ready to call Noller beat it out, and it has been a tough day for Jim Cooper. Calling safe and out at first. Let's take another look. Oh, maybe not. She threw it from her body.
Let's see. This is going to tell us she's safe by at least half a step.
You know, I wonder if the double bags are tougher for the umpires.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I have opinions, but I'm not going to offer them. I mean,
that was the quickest of reviews.
I do not want their job, the umpire, so I'm not going to, you know.
So after quick review, Noller is safe. I was just thinking, you know, I've heard umpires talk about how they use their ears to listen for the bag or the pop first, and you wonder if that double bag makes it tougher because the bag is further away.
I've never really thought about it.
Well, I'm glad I could bring it up. As Kennedy Ariel, the lifetime pinch runner, comes in to provide the go-ahead run here with no outs in the 5th inning.
You know, that's a bit of an unsung hero right there. Keeps a great attitude, in the dugout, ready to go.
Brings up Sam Minish. Might be in a bunting situation, but she takes ball 1.
And my young apprentice, I was right with the score tied. Minish stays in the game.
You were right. Swinging away, fouls it back 1-1. So you go from a small ball inning last inning.
To be honest with you, I thought she would be bunting.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe you try to steal and then bunt if you get greedy. Sarah Bro waits on deck, the hero from the 1st inning. Now the bunt look as Minish takes a ball.
I don't know if that was base hit bunt on her own or if that was asked of by Coach Rittman. I saw him flash a bunch of signals.
Ariel with 1 steal this season. 10 runs scored over at first base as Minish takes strike 2.
Minish out of Hull, Georgia, which is somewhat near Athens, Georgia, but on the South Carolina state line down south of here.
2-2. Down on strikes goes Minish. 5th strikeout, 6th strikeout, I should say, for Zabala.
Now they wish she would have bunted. But with a runner on first base, they do have to pitch to Sarah Bro now, and Bro has had a good afternoon.
Bro has had a career afternoon, 4 RBIs on 1 swing. And I'll answer that trivia question. Abby Vieira the other Clemson Tiger whose first home run was a grand slam, as Bro pops the first pitch over to Lotus for out number 2.
You really hate seeing that leadoff runner on and not being moved. But
Yeah, it depends on who you're rooting for.
But you got to tip your hat to the pitcher.
Clemson able to get out of that similar jam back in the 4th inning when Mack singled and stole second. Now a chance for Kylie Johnson, who is 2 for 2. Started it all last inning with that bunt single. Runner is off, and Johnson fouls off the first pitch.
Pretty good idea. Johnson has reached with a bunt, right? Didn't she start off that whole thing?
She did. She did. I might have just mentioned that.
Did you really?
I might have.
Well, I don't listen to you.
I'm aware. 8 hits apiece, 6 runs apiece here in the bottom of the 5th. Late on that swing, 68 miles an hour as Zabala continues to pile in heat.
You may see Ariel go right here. And there's a couple of different reasons.
Taylor Pipkins waits on deck. 0-2, misses outside, and that might have been a bit of a pitch out.
That was a bit of a pitch out. Louisville was thinking the same thing I was.
Yeah, why is the reason?
Well, if she makes an out, you give Johnson, who's having a pretty good day, a fresh set of strikes the next half inning. Otherwise, she's in scoring position.
Runner is off. Kylie sends one sky high to right, into the wind and into the glove of Williams, as Zabala puts up another 0. We are tied into the 6th. 6 apiece. In the first 2 innings, but a look at the last 3 as the ace for Clemson has settled down here into the 6th. A tie game in the 9 spot as Louisville pinch hits Ava Venturelli, a junior outfielder.
And she's pinch hitting, as you said, in the 9 hole. So it is almost mandatory that you get her out without all that trouble coming up next.
Venturelli, who had the big 2-run double on Tuesday to take the lead in the 6th against Evansville, as she cannot hold up this half swing. 1-1 the count as we look at Venturelli's numbers. Trying to spark a rally against Manis as Venturelli cannot hold off again.
And they were both, I think both times the bat went across the plate.
Just outside 2-2 as Manis has her pitch count starting to rise. But Scott, I'll ask you, is there a noticeable difference when you have a couple stress-free innings? Is that pitch count a little deceiving?
Yeah, no, you relax.
Right. But would 120 be different if the the last 20 pitches were stressful as opposed to these last 20 that have not been?
Oh, well, stress tires you. You
right.
know that. I mean, anybody, whether it be a pitcher or a carpenter, I mean, stress tires the body.
3-2 pitch. Fouled off. Manis's season high came against Georgia Tech last weekend on Friday, where she threw 126.
Well, the thing that she's got to do now is make her leave running. You got to make her leave running because you don't want to walk a leadoff pinch hitter to bring up the top of the order.
Yep, the top 2 hitters for Louisville have reached in 5 of the 6 at-bats today. Lotus and then Mack.
I had a player ask me one time, why does she always have to hit 9th? And I told her it was because they would not let me hit only 8.
3-2 to Venturelli. Squibbed right back into the circle, and the ground balls have continued. 6 of the last 7 outs for Manis have come via the ground ball.
And you know as well as I know, she's at her best when she's throwing ground balls.
And it's 7 straight retired, back to the top of the lineup. The 2 Cardinals that have been thorns in Sierra's side have been Easton Lotus, Chelsea Mack. The obstacle standing in her way of 6 strong innings.
This is a bad part of town right here.
Lotus did strike out looking in the 3rd as she fouls off the first pitch in on her hands. Easton, who was injured in 2024, led the team in hits in 2025. This is roped into Chanel's glove, a hard hit out number 2.
Yeah, that a way to pop her up. Isn't that what you tell her? On that ball was hit right on the button.
You know, in softball, I think the hot corner extends.
Oh, yes, it does, because everything is close.
Especially against the slapper, that shortstop is in as the defense stays in the same position against Chelsea Mack. 2 for 2 with a walk. 2 runs scored for the senior out of Ohio.
It seems like with players like Mack, you just want to tell her, all right, just go out there and stand at second. Let's just get on with it.
There's a look at Clemson's defense. As the changeup tails low and the count is 2-0.
Of course, I speak in jest, but I mean, she's just such, coming into this game, she'd only struck out twice all year. And she's hitting .488.
There's a strike from Manis with pitch 121.
Excuse me, she'd only struck out 3 times this year.
Now, North Carolina boasts the best batting average in the nation. Emily Leggett is hitting .597. But Chelsea Mack is certainly climbing up. She's in the top 20 in the nation.
Oh, boy.
And she's not happy with that call, and neither is Coach April, asking if she offered with the bunt. Getting confirmation whether that bunt was offered.
And Coach April is not happy, if you can see her body language then.
Big pitch here for Manis. Right back in the circle, Sierra Manis with 3 consecutive shutout frames.
That is the biggest inning she's pitched in this ball game, and the best. These are my, the berm, these are my people. Yeah, they're out there. Look, we got Dad entertaining the youngster, I guess.
It's a beautiful day. Scott, I think on Sunday we might throw you out there to call an inning.
I would love to work a game out in the berm. And they're just having fun out there. I think Daddy may be having more fun than the kid.
You know what? Spirits are high. It's a beautiful day. Yesterday was a little bit chillier. Today has warmed up. Tomorrow in the 70s. Clemson looking for some offense as Taylor Pipkins leads things off to turn the lineup over against Alyssa Zabala, who has had 1 blemish, and that was the bunt-filled 4th inning.
And Pipkins' job is to get on any way possible or hit one out of the park. Crowd enjoying themselves.
Meanwhile, Sierra Manis has retired 9 straight Cardinals. And Pipkins gets a load of this, but again, we talked about the wind is blowing in from right. It's a can of corn for Mack in center.
Hit that ball to left field, and it's got a chance to blow out.
Yep. There's another look at the 10 to 15 mile an hour winds blowing straight in from right field to left. A little bit of a crosswind.
Yes, from right center to the left field line.
So it brings up Jamison Brockenbrough, who singled on that bunt in the 4th. First pitch misses low. Brockenbrough followed by Chanel. This is hit well. This might find the gap in the wall. Jamison's thinking 2. Misplayed in right field by Williams and has Brockenbrough sliding into 3rd with a 1-out triple.
And that ball was smoked. That ball was absolutely smoked by the senior out of Union Grove, Georgia.
First extra base hit against Zabala.
And that ball just stroked. Look at that. And she almost was going to stop at second base. She looked up and saw Coach Ribbon winding her over.
And you talked about it earlier, Scott. Louisville is the team that bunts. Louisville is the team that plays small ball and the conference's leader in triples. And the Tigers have stolen that identity a bit today.
And this would be a great time to fake squeeze.
Little butcher boy.
I mean, butt the ball. And the runner, they're going to think the runner's coming.
Well, Kylie Chanel is at the plate with the infield in and one out. Go ahead, run at third base, and the count is 1-0.
As tight as they're playing, though, you can take your chances letting her drive the ball now.
Chanel did put down the suicide squeeze successfully in the fourth. She's 0 for 3 with an RBI. Takes high and outside 2-0. And if you're Clemson, sure, you could think one, but there's a chance for a bigger inning, isn't there?
Yeah, but before you can have the big inning, you've got to get the first run. Any means necessary, and you have an out, so it needs to happen here.
I guess I asked that in the form of a walk here against potentially sacrificing yourself for a run. Mac Pavesi waits on deck, followed by Marion Collins. 3-4-5 due up for the Cardinals in the 7th as Chanel takes a big swing and fouls it into the glove of Despinese. It's 2-2. In a 6-6 game in the bottom of the 6th inning.
This has been a fun game for the fans to watch, nerve-wracking for the players and coaches.
Well, the first inning took about an hour.
Yeah.
Then the next 5 took about an hour. Here we sit in the bottom of the 6th. Good spoil swing by Chanel, who celebrated a birthday on Monday. She has hits in all but 7 games this season, 18 of 25, but 0 for today. Speed at third base in Brockenbrough. 3-2 is driven into right field. Chanel delivers with a go-ahead hit in the 6th.
That is a big 2-strike hit right there by Chanel. The junior transfer out of Florida. And the Tigers take a lead. Let's see if we're going to see some pinch running for. Watch this. She just dunks it over. Didn't really hit it hard. Brockenbrough played it perfectly. She got down the line and held to see what was going to happen, and then was able to trot in.
We will have a runner at first base in the form of Sarah Rochelow. And Clemson has come all the way back, down 4-0 in the first inning. There's your guy.
And we're going to have I think we're going to have a pitching change too.
We will see Jaden Goes come in, presumably to give Zabala a little bit of respite before tomorrow, as Clemson finally gets the Louisville ace. 3 times through the lineup was the demise of Alyssa Zabala, and the freshman from Michigan, Jaden Goes, takes over. A superstar in high school, All-American. Has had a ton of relief appearances already, as scouting report on Goes is the hardest thrower on the team, up in the high 60s.
I was watching her warm up. She brings it.
A filthy drop as she takes on Mac Pavesi here with 1 on and 1 out. A 1-run lead for Clemson, as Louisville's third option pitching today finds strike 1. Zabala struck out 6, allowed 5 hits. 3 of them were bunts in 4 2/3, as Rochelow belongs to Zabala, who has allowed 2 runs already. And this is gapped into left center field. Pavesi strikes again. The freshman rounding third. Rocheleau is safe on the RBI double by Pavesi for insurance to the Tigers.
That is what star players do. Right there, Pavesi, a glimpse into the future of this Clemson program. Only a freshman, but she just really, really, really rises to the moment.
And Coach, this has been such a wacky game. That was the first double of the ball game for either team.
Yep, we've seen a double and a triple
in this inning.
Yes. Does
that set the stage for Marion Collins?
Well, we need a single and a home run, don't we? To hit for the cycle.
Well, we saw a single from Chanel, the RBI knock, so just a home run.
So we were we were a home run away from the cycle, aren't we, this inning?
In consecutive 4 batters as Collins takes strike 1. The changeup from Goes there, so that run tallied to Zabala.
But more importantly, it's now a 2-run lead for the Tigers. That really opens up your options defensively as you try to close out this game.
We'll see if it's Manis who has been locked down. 4 shutout innings since that 2 unearned runs second inning. It's the count now 1-2 to Collins. We're back tomorrow at 1 o'clock right here on ACC Network Extra. And then Sunday at noon to close out this ACC series that Louisville will certainly be frustrated with if they can't come out with a victory today. 2-2.
If the next 2 are like this one, the fans are going to get their money's worth. You and I are going to get our money's worth, and the 2 coaches are going to have to go to the hospital on Sunday.
We had 9 runs in the first inning, all with 2 outs. Louisville scored 4, Clemson had 5, and a grand slam by Sarah Breaux, the highlight. Louisville then scored 2 2-out runs following the error by Chanel in the second, but I'll tell you what, I think Kylie made up for it with that go-ahead hit a few moments ago here in the 6th. Two. Inside out swing. Pavesi runs into an out there, and it's a fielder's choice, 5 unassisted.
Well, she's still a rookie. She ran right into that, and nobody can help you on that play. As the base runner is right in front of you, you've got to know that you're in scoring position. And you don't make an out at third base.
And we talked about Riley Janda.
Yeah, I mean, she did perfect. I mean, it was right in front of both of them.
Brings up Julia Noller. She takes strike 1 here from Goes.
This is a good time for her to hit. She's got to know, all right, we already got a 2-run lead. There's not as much pressure on me as there would have been. Just get in there and have a good at-bat and keep working on your game.
And how unlikely would you think back in the first inning that Sierra Manis would have an opportunity for a complete game?
I didn't think she'd have a 3rd inning.
Yeah, I'm with you. 60 pitches through 2.
There was a lot of pitches thrown in that first inning.
Manis has had 60 pitches thrown over the last 4 innings.
Well, that tells the tale right there.
9 straight retired for the junior out of Woodruff, South Carolina, who are expected to come back out in the 7th to take on the meat of the comeback Cardinals lineup. Despinese, Lacadou, and Pickens. Runner is off, it won't matter, as Noller is down on strikes, and we are off to the 7th. An RBI single by Kylie Chanel, and then the double by Pavesi has Clemson up by 2. In a similar situation, but the roles were flipped as Clemson was down into the 7th inning of game 1 of the series. Saw that RBI double by Julia Noller. The Garcia sacrifice fly would tie the game in the 7th. This was off of Zabala. And then it was Aaliyah Lungaleo to pick up the go-ahead hit, and Millie Thompson and her explosive nature to shut it down as Louisville is looking for a similar scenario coming into the 7th year in game 1 2 seasons later.
That brings back great memories for the Clemson fans. Millie Thompson, so animated out there on the mound. You never had to wonder what she was thinking.
Meanwhile, it's Sierra Manis, much more quiet, but has shown signs of explosiveness out of her circle.
Yes.
Had a big shutdown 4th inning after the leadoff single by Mack, and that was the last Cardinal to reach base against Manis, as Brie Despinice has a 37-game on-base streak on the line. 0 for 3 today as she fouls back the first pitch from Sierra.
Chanel did check back in at shortstop.
Look at Despinice's numbers. She had the walk-off single a few days ago in the win over Evansville as Manis misses with the changeup. And we look at Chanel, who has made 3 tremendous plays in the last few innings behind Manis, including that line drive grab last frame.
Yeah, that ball was hit very sharp.
Despinice goes around, and it's 1-2.
If you're the pitcher, Manis, just pour strikes. That's P-O-U-R to those of you up north.
No rich strikes?
No.
1-2. Just outside. And that tight zone is continued for Robbie Guest. A new season high in pitches for Manis. Ground ball to Collins. 1 out.
What a huge out. That is a big, big out. We talked about before we went on the air, and I think just a bit in our opening, about we knew this was going to be a competitive series, but you could not sit down and script up how exciting this game has been any more than it has.
To the 4-hitter in Cameron Luckadoo. She takes low.
And the main thing here now is, if you're Clemson, you want every hitter to come up to bat with not have the ability to tie the game.
That's a good point. Meanwhile, 10 straight retired by Manis, 8 of them groundouts. A good down drop pitch evens the count 1-1.
And there's no rhyme or reason for it, but there's also no doubt that Manis has gotten better as the games went on.
Ground ball to third. Bro, and it's 1 out away from another come-from-behind victory to start the weekend of ACC play.
And it's been quite a ride today, partner.
And I say another because Clemson did it last Friday against Georgia Tech. It has been a whale of a game. 11 runs scored in the first 2 innings. It's down to Madison Pickens, who grounds one into the diving glove of Bro from her knees. A web gem to win it for the Tigers.
That right there might be a Sports Center worthy right there. To win a game, to end a game, that was incredible. From her knees, all she does hits the grand slam and make just the final out like that. Look at this. She did everything but park cars today. Look at that. That's a rookie over there, folks. What a play.
Well, you mentioned it, Scott. A grand slam to take the lead in the first inning and a diving play to retire the side in the 7th. Manis finishes with 5 shutout innings and the complete game, 3 earned runs allowed to move to 10-3 as Sierra Manis finished with 12 retired in a row as we move into tomorrow.
And the bottom line is this: the Clemson Tigers have won the first game of this series. This is a big series. This is a moving day kind of series in terms of getting yourself in position in this league. And that was a big win, a great game, exciting, fun, whatever you want to put in there. And we're going to do it again tomorrow.
Can't wait to be with you again tomorrow. For our entire crew and Scott Whitlock, I'm Daniel Gilman saying so long. Be back at 1 o'clock on ACC Network Extra tomorrow as Clemson wins it 8-6. This has been a presentation of ESPN.